The weight of expectation hung heavy in the Denver Police Department briefing room on September 14, 2015. It was the first mandatory attendance briefing for the newly promoted command staff, a room defined by rigid punctuality and the silent pressure of heightened responsibility. When Officer Piper Crumb-Vida's name was called during roll call, only silence answered. Missing the first day of a command assignment wasn't merely unprofessional, it was an immediate, glaring anomaly. Piper Crumb-Vida, 31, was known throughout the department for her meticulous nature, tactical precision, and unwavering reliability. This promotion was the culmination of years of dedicated service. Her absence was immediately alarming. Initial attempts to contact her failed. Calls went directly to a full voicemail box, suggesting her phone had been off or out of service for some time. Concern rapidly escalated. Department officials contacted her parents, Jarek and McKenna Crumb-Vida. They revealed Piper had taken authorized leave immediately before the promotion, seeking a period of decompression before the pressures of command consumed her. She'd chosen a solo, multi-day through hike deep within Rocky Mountain National Park, a chance to immerse herself in the high-altitude wilderness she loved. The problem was stark. She was scheduled to complete her hike 2 days prior, on September 12th. By the 14th, she was significantly overdue, and her parents hadn't heard from her since she began. Jarek and McKenna were already grappling with rising panic. Piper wasn't just an experienced hiker comfortable in demanding terrain. She was a trained police officer, acutely aware of risk assessment, navigation, and wilderness survival. For her to vanish without a trace suggested something far more serious than a lost trail or minor injury. Something external had intervened. By midday, Piper Crumb-Vida was officially declared a missing person. The urgency was palpable. This wasn't a typical lost tourist case. This was one of their own. The investigation began at the last known physical location. Park rangers quickly located Piper's vehicle, locked and undisturbed at the designated trailhead specified in her backcountry permit. It sat silently, a stark marker of where her journey began, overshadowed by the indifferent peaks. Investigators established a timeline based on a brief text message sent to her mother on September 9th, confirming her ascent and impending loss of cell service. After that, the digital trail went cold. Piper had shouldered her heavy pack, a blue backpack and a green foam sleeping pad, and walked into the vastness of the Rockies, seemingly dissolving into the thin mountain air. The mobilization was immediate and massive. RMNP encompasses over 415 square miles of some of the most rugged, high-altitude terrain in the United States, a place of towering peaks, shadowed valleys, and volatile weather. Searching for a single individual in such an environment was an overwhelming undertaking, a race against time and the elements. The initial strategy focused on Piper's filed itinerary, a challenging multi-day loop traversing well-known passes and established camping zones. By September 15th, the park was inundated with personnel. Park rangers, specialized search and rescue teams, volunteers, and Denver PD officers. A command center was established near the trailhead, the air thick with the thrum of helicopter rotors and the crackle of radio communications. Aerial searches were relentless, pilots navigating treacherous winds, scanning for any sign of disturbance. On the ground, dog teams attempted to catch a scent trail before the elements washed it away. Searchers pushed themselves to their physical limits, battling altitude and the emotional weight of searching for a fellow officer. They knew Piper had the training to signal for help, conserve resources, and make herself visible. Yet day after day, they returned exhausted and empty-handed. Jarek and McKenna arrived at the command center, their faces etched with anxiety, providing investigators with exhaustive lists of Piper's gear. They clung to the hope that her skills would keep her alive. Simultaneously, detectives in Denver began a routine background investigation. They examined Piper's life, looking for stressors or conflicts. They reviewed her case files, searching for disgruntled suspects. They examined her financials and personal relationships. The results were uniformly negative. Piper appeared to be in a good place with no unusual activity. The answer, everyone suspected, was somewhere in the mountains. Days stretched into a week. The initial saturation of her planned route yielded nothing. It was baffling. How could an experienced hiker vanish without a trace on a marked trail? The wilderness remained stubbornly silent. Then, investigators uncovered an unusual detail. A requisition form from a mountaineering outfitter in Boulder, dated 3 weeks before her trip, detailing a request for high-end technical ice climbing gear, crampons, ice axes, ropes, and anchors. This equipment was far beyond what was necessary for her planned through hike. Piper had canceled the requisition just 2 days after submitting it. This ignited a new, alarming theory. Had Piper planned a secret detour? Was the filed itinerary a decoy? Investigators theorized that a skilled officer seeking a final extreme challenge before settling into a desk job might have spontaneously attempted a difficult climb. If she had fallen or become trapped in a glacial area, the chances of locating her were slim. Authorities diverted significant resources to this new possibility. Specialized alpine teams trained in glacial travel and crevasse rescue were deployed to areas associated with the requisition paperwork. These areas were remote, characterized by unstable ice and the threat of avalanche. The search in the ice fields was grueling and dangerous. Helicopters navigated treacherous downdrafts, inserting teams onto glaciers. Pilots performed maneuvers pushing the limits of their aircraft, scanning for any sign of color against the monochrome landscape. Despite the intensive effort and the dangers faced, the ice fields yielded nothing. The requisition, while intriguing, appeared to be a dead end. During this focus on high-altitude regions, a routine canvassing of local businesses continued. It was during this phase that an oversight occurred. Investigators briefly considered the High Alpine Lodge, a remote seasonal establishment slightly off the main trails. However, because it wasn't on Piper's planned route, they dismissed it as an unlikely detour. No one interviewed the staff. As September ended, the weather turned. The first heavy snows blanketed the peaks, and temperatures plummeted. The window for active searching closed rapidly. The massive search operation was scaled back, the command center disassembled. For Jarek and McKenna, the silence was agonizing. They organized private searches throughout the winter of 2015 and into the spring of 2016, driven by a desperate hope. But the mountains remained silent. A year passed, and Piper Crumb Vita's disappearance remained a baffling mystery. July 2017. Nearly 2 years had passed. The case had gone cold. Ellen Wilder, a field biologist with the U.S. Geological Survey, was documenting beetle kill patterns in the park's forests. He was working in a rugged area, several miles from established trails, when he discovered a small, dilapidated dome tent, partially hidden beneath fallen trees. Inside, he found degraded clothing, a pair of hiking shoes, and a waterlogged wallet. The wallet contained identification documents, severely damaged, but enough to confirm a name and date of birth. The match was definitive. The Geel belonged to Piper Crumb Vita. The discovery electrified the investigation. But the real breakthrough came when a technician examining the hiking shoes found a small SD memory card hidden beneath the insole. The card was rushed to a forensic lab. Initial attempts to extract data failed. The card was severely corrupted, damaged by years of exposure to the elements. The team employed advanced techniques, painstakingly rebuilding the data bit by bit. They managed to extract fragmented metadata, including GPS coordinates and a timestamp. The coordinates pointed to a remote, rugged area known for its limestone formations, sinkholes, and caves. A specialized SAR team was dispatched to the location. The terrain was treacherous, the cave entrance hidden and unmarked. Inside, they found a water bottle, identified by Piper's parents. While the bottle yielded no forensic evidence, it confirmed her presence in the cave. The investigation stalled again until a routine cold case review led an investigator to examine Piper's police academy training records. He discovered she had taken a wilderness tactical operations course taught by contracted civilian experts. Cross-referencing the contractor list with local guides revealed a match. Vaughn Go, a highly regarded guide with a hidden criminal past, a 15-year prison sentence for aggravated robbery. Investigators learned Go had frequented the cave area and had been identified by a lodge owner as having been with Piper shortly before her disappearance. Authorities tracked Go, who was leading a private tour group. They intercepted him under the guise of a park regulation check and arrested him. Faced with mounting evidence, Go confessed. He recounted meeting Piper at the High Alpine Lodge, their hike together, and the fateful encounter in the cave. He admitted to disclosing his criminal past, the ensuing argument, and accidentally shoving Piper, causing her to hit her head and lose consciousness. Panicked, he fled, leaving her behind. Go's confession led to a final, intensive search of the area between the cave and the geared discovery site. Specialized cadaver dogs located Piper Crumbita's skeletal remains beneath a rock overhang. Forensic analysis confirmed the identity and the cause of death, a severe head injury consistent with Go's account. Vaughn Go pleaded guilty to manslaughter and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. For Jarek and McKenna Crumbita, the discovery of their daughter's remains brought a devastating closure, ending years of agonizing uncertainty and allowing them to finally mourn the tragic loss of their daughter. The mountains, finally, had relinquished their secret.